The night air in Cheongdam-dong hung heavy with rain, each drop flickering beneath the streetlights like the final seconds of a secret. It was late, 10:45 p.m., when a soft flash from a camera shutter broke the silence outside a small restaurant called Jaldam. From the dim doorway, Jung Hae-in and Jung So-min emerged hand in hand, faces half hidden beneath baseball caps, laughter spilling quietly between them. The world would not realize it until morning. But this moment, gentle, unguarded, utterly human, was about to shatter 6 years of whispers and rumors that had haunted them both. For years, their story had lived only in fragments, blurry photos, speculative posts, half-heard confessions in online forums. It began in 2018, far from Seoul's glittering skyline, on the misty docks of Busan, where they first met while filming a JTBC drama that would later define their chemistry. Between camera takes, they shared quiet jokes, traded playlists, began learning each other's silences. They seemed too natural. One crew member had murmured back then, watching as Jung Hae-in draped his jacket over So-min's shoulders between scenes filmed in the rain. Neither of them spoke of what was growing beneath the surface, but everyone around them felt the pull. 2019, fans were piecing together coincidences like detectives of the heart. Silver bracelets appeared on their wrists during separate public events. A photograph of two figures, believed to be them, surfaced from Jeju Island. The silhouettes framed by a sunset too intimate to dismiss. When questioned, their agencies denied everything, crafting careful statements about coincidental timing and close professional friendship, but silence, in a world addicted to noise, amplified curiosity. Each denial seemed to add another layer to the legend of what people were sure existed between them. The years that followed turned silence into suffocation. Every smile became suspect, every glance a headline. Jung Hae-in's career was ascending fast, his image was clean, composed, a portrait of restraint. To fall in love publicly would risk that perfection. So he built walls around his personal life, while So-min learned to navigate the loneliness of protecting something that could never be acknowledged. She deleted social media posts, created interviews, and met him in small, hidden places, the back entrance of a quiet cafe in Hanam-dong, the narrow alleys near Itaewon, or the dim interior of his car parked by the Han River. They would talk until dawn about dreams that had no place in their industry. But hiding takes a toll. In 2022, a grainy photo from Namsan Tower, two figures standing too close, circulated online. The faces were blurred, but fans knew. That posture, that jacket, it's them. A tweet declared, and within hours, speculation had exploded again. Both stars retreated into silence once more. But the emotional distance between their real lives and the public facade began to fracture their peace. So-min, exhausted, once confided to a friend, "It feels like we're ghosts in our own story." In early 2025, the moment when fate, always patient, always watching, decided to intervene. A dispatch reporter had been following them for weeks, collecting proof that would finally turn rumor into revelation. The decisive evidence came from Incheon Airport, where they were photographed boarding a flight to Okinawa. Their faces were uncovered, their hands intertwined. They were smiling. When their managers got word that the story was scheduled for release, the countdown began. Within 24 hours, the truth would no longer be theirs to tell. That night, Jung Hae-in sat in his apartment overlooking Seoul's skyline, the neon lights bleeding through the rain-streaked window. Didn't speak much. His phone vibrated constantly, calls from his agency, friends urging caution, warnings about brand deals and reputation. So-min sat beside him on the couch, resting on his shoulder, her fingers tracing the lines of his palm. For a long moment, neither moved. Then he whispered, "I lose everything tomorrow. Would you still stay?" She smiled faintly. "You're everything I never wanted to hide." The world outside seemed to vanish. Some of the city, the echo of traffic along the river, it all faded until there was only the sound of rain and the rhythm of two people deciding to stop running. He opened Instagram, the screen glowing pale blue against the darkness. He typed slowly, deliberately. Each word carried the weight of years. "I've learned that love isn't something to be managed or hidden. It's something to be lived, honestly, quietly, but without fear. I'm grateful for someone who has walked beside me, even when the world couldn't see." He didn't tag her. He didn't need to. Simplicity of the message was louder than any confession. For nearly an hour, he hovered over the post button. Instincts built from years in the entertainment industry screamed against it: contracts, image, fear of scandal. So Min's hand covered his, steady and sure. She said softly. At 7:32 a.m., Jung Hae-in exhaled and tapped the screen. It went live. The world outside remained still for a few seconds before the first notifications began to light up his phone. Thousands of hearts. Hundreds of comments. Messages flooding in like a wave he could no longer stop. Somewhere across Seoul. At that same moment, Min's phone buzzed too. She smiled faintly, tears blurring her eyes, as she whispered, "Finally." And so, in the tender gray of a Seoul morning, two people who had spent years living as rumors became real. Didn't announce it with fanfare or press statements. He simply stopped hiding. Outside, the rain eased. The city stirred awake. And for the first time in 6 years, Hae-in and Jung So-min stepped into the light, not as co-stars, not as secrets, but as themselves. Love, Jung Hae-in would later tell a friend, isn't a scandal. It's a truth that waits for courage. That courage had arrived. And the world, still half dreaming, was about to witness what came next. Morning broke over Seoul in a blur of headlines, hashtags, and disbelief. The city that had just begun to wake to the hum of traffic and the aroma of coffee found itself gripped by a single story: Jung Hae-in confirms relationship with Jung So-min. The post that had gone live only hours before was already the most shared item on Naver and Twitter. Fans were screenshotting it. News outlets were scrambling for statements. And within minutes, a wave of both admiration and curiosity swept across the nation. At his agency's office in Gangnam, the air was thick with tension and the clicking of phones. Managers and publicists argued over wording as they prepared an official statement. By 9:15 a.m., it went public. Jung Hae-in has confirmed that he and actress Jung So-min have been in a relationship for several years. We ask for your warm understanding and support for the two as they continue both their careers and their personal happiness. A few minutes later, Jung So-min uploaded a handwritten letter on her personal Instagram. The ink on the page was slightly smudged, her writing neat but trembling. It read, "There are things that can only grow in silence. One of them was us. Thank you for waiting. He makes me feel at home in a world that moves too fast." Those words struck like an emotional chord. Fans across the country began sharing photos of the couple's old drama scenes, making compilations with captions like they were real all along. Others, initially skeptical, softened as they saw the sincerity behind their confessions. The story wasn't about scandal, it was about survival, patience, and a love that refused to be buried beneath fame. While the internet burned with activity, the suburbs of Seoul, where Jung Hae-in's parents lived, felt like a world apart. Reporters gathered near the family's gate, their cameras pointed at the modest home where his mother, tired high school teacher, finally spoke after a long pause. "Son," she said gently, standing at the doorway. "And he's finally found someone who understands his quiet soul. That's all a mother can hope for." Down south, in Busan, another door opened to laughter instead of surprise. Jung So-min's father, a former Navy officer known for his strict composure, smiled when asked about his daughter's relationship. Known for years, he admitted with a calm grin. But happiness isn't about control, it's about trust. If she smiles, I smile. Her mother, standing beside him, handed tea to reporters and added, "We always believed in their timing. Love can't be rushed when fame tries to outrun it." The scenes, both families had already shared dinners in quiet places, far from the public eye. Those meetings took place at a countryside home in Gyeonggi Province, under a fading orange sunset. Both sets of parents met halfway, Jung Hae-in's family bringing traditional rice cakes, Min's family bringing homemade kimchi. They laughed, they toasted, and for a brief moment, the chaos of celebrity life dissolved into the simplicity of two families becoming one. But beyond the warmth, the couple now faced the public's divided gaze. Online, not everyone was kind. Some fans expressed heartbreak, claiming betrayal. Others accused the couple of using their relationship for attention. Yet as the hours passed, something remarkable happened. The tone shifted. Fans began defending them. Things like they've earned their happiness, and for once, this isn't about drama, It's about courage. Within a day, the tide had turned. What began as a frenzy of gossip had transformed into one of the most heartwarming love stories in recent K-entertainment memory. 3 days later, a press conference was held at the Lotte Hotel Seoul. The same venue that had hosted countless industry announcements but never one quite like this. The ballroom glowed under soft white lights as hundreds of journalists filled the seats. The moment the doors opened, camera flashes exploded like fireworks. Jung Hae-in appeared first. A simple black suit. Beside him, Jung So-min, dressed in a soft ivory blouse, exuded both grace and calm. Their hands brushed briefly as they took their seats, and for a second, the room went still. When the questions began, they were careful but probing. "Why now?" one reporter asked. Hae-in leaned forward, his voice low but steady. "Because pretending we were strangers was harder than facing the truth," he said. "This is not a scandal. It's love, and it deserves peace." That single line ricocheted across social media within minutes. It's quoted in articles, tweeted thousands of times, and became the most replayed clip on Korean television that evening. The press conference ended with applause, something rarely given in that room. As they stood, So-min whispered a quiet thank you to the crowd, and turned to her, smiled faintly, and the two bowed together before walking off stage, fingers interlaced, the cameras following them into the hallway like a slow-moving wave. In the weeks that followed, the couple appeared together in public several times, first at Incheon Airport, where they departed for a brief family trip to Jeju Island, and later in Han River Park, where a fan caught them walking at sunset, dressed casually. Their laughter caught on a short clip that went viral for its simplicity. There were no bodyguards, no disguises, just two people who had stopped hiding. Their agencies confirmed that both families continued to meet regularly, and plans for a formal engagement in the future were hinted at but not confirmed. "There's no rush," Hae-in said in a later interview. "We've already waited long enough just to breathe freely. Now, we're learning to live at our own pace." The story might have ended there, a clean arc from secrecy to serenity, but what made it resonate was not the fame, nor the beauty of the two stars. It was the quiet defiance in their choice. They had resisted the machinery that told them love was a liability. They had chosen humanity over image, over silence. On a clear Sunday evening, weeks after the revelation, spotted again, this time at Namsan View Garden Restaurant, a family-owned spot overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. Both families were there, seated around a long table filled with food and laughter. The fathers clinked glasses, the mothers exchanged knowing smiles, and Hae-in leaned towards So-min as if whispering something that made her laugh softly. It was not the kind of laughter meant for cameras, it was the kind that only comes after years of restraint. Outside, the city glittered, alive, electric, indifferent. But within that warm room, something rare pulsed through the air, peace. That night, as they walked out into the cool autumn breeze, Jung So-min looked up at the Namsan Tower lights and murmured, "You think it's strange to feel like we're starting over at this age?" Jung Hae-in took her hand, his voice gentle but sure. "No," he said. "We're not starting over. We're just finally living the part of the story we were too scared to write." They walked down the hill, their silhouettes fading into the hum of the city. Above them, the tower lights flickered from white to soft pink. The sky itself was giving its quiet blessing. After years of secrecy and speculation, the world had finally stopped chasing them. There were no more blurred photos, no more rumors to outrun. Just two names, Jung Hae-in and Jung So-min, spoken not with gossip, but with something close to reverence. And as Seoul exhaled into another midnight, their love, once hidden in the shadows, stood proudly in the open air. Fragile yet fierce, ordinary yet eternal. Under the Seoul skyline, two souls who had once lived behind closed curtains now walked freely beneath the same light. After years of whispers, love had finally found its voice.